what's up, you guys? Yes.
We started. I didn't think we actually started. What's up, guys?
Let's get fucking spooky up in this bitch.
Happy October.
Welcome to 10 for 10's Shocktober.
Wow. No, I don't like it. Spooktober.
I think it's going to be Shocktober because I'm the one who does all the social media and you don't do anything.
And it's shocking.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway.
Why isn't this? One sec. Oh, there we go. My file wasn't opening. All right. Welcome back to 10 for 10. If you didn't listen to the previous little announcement,
we back, bitches.
We're back after a very long break, a bit of a sabbatical.
You know what? It wasn't that long. It was shorter than in between show seasons, you know?
True. I guess we could just spin this as we're just doing seasons of the show, 11 episodes at a time. But now there's going to become a lot closer together, hopefully.
Oh, no.
Anyway, we're back for now. For good, hopefully. What has happened? I went on a spiritual journey.
Well, we kind of
through
talked
the Himalayan mountains.
No, he didn't. But we kind of talked about what's been happening.
I know. I'm saying if they didn't hear that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we moved.
In age.
Just turned 24. I turned 22.
We just saw Anastasia on Broadway. Dream come true for me. And Dan just enjoyed himself.
Graduated college. Got a job.
We moved.
We are now. Yeah, I said we moved.
We moved.
So we're in an official.
We just brought our spooky decorations.
Recording studio.
No.
It's my man cave. It's a bit of a man cave.
It's not a man cave.
Yeah, you're right. It's more just like a little office.
Yeah.
But I don't really use anymore because I don't work at home.
I use it a little bit more to watch Hulu.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway, this is October now. October's the best month of the year, hands down. It's spooky all throughout. It's nice getting crisp and cold outside.
It's my favorite season.
So I thought we would celebrate that by having a whole month of spooky-related topics, all leading up to our final episode this month on October 31st, Halloween itself. And I don't really know exactly what I'm going to do then, but I'm going to do something pretty cool. And
Dan is more into the spooks than I am. I love him, but he's just way more into it. So I will be having one episode in the middle of the month. Also because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out tomorrow, so I'm going to need a little bit of a
break next week.
A jaw break. It's gonna hurt. But yeah, so I'm doing one, but I like what my list is going to be.
Yeah. What else? Also through our Facebook page and Twitter and stuff, I'm going to be posting every movie that I watch during the month.
He watches one a day.
Try to watch a horror movie a day, and if I don't watch one day, I try to watch two to make up the next day or whatever.
Oh, also we joined a network. A
podcasting network. Yeah. The Shrimp Queen Network. Visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network. It's pretty simple. And you can check out. I guess you could say that.
They queens.
They have some other fantastic shows on there. I don't really think there's a there on the network.
Within the network.
So check them out. Give them a Goog. Give them a like. Give them a follow. Share their stuff. Share our stuff because that's how.
Give them a Goog.
That's how the good things happen. Anyway, we are now not only on Podbean, but we are on Spotify, which is fantastic, and hopefully soon on iTunes. And once we get to iTunes, if people could leave reviews, like if this is on iTunes now, because all the previous episodes will be, please leave us a review, a nice review, a couple stars, 5 preferably, because that would really help.
I know one of you.
The algorithm.
That definitely will, because this person misses us dearly.
The algorithm and putting us forward and suggesting to other people, which can help the podcast grow and help us just keep doing it, because it's not like we're doing this for money. We're mostly doing it for fun. But if we don't really have anybody to listen to, then we can just not record these conversations and just have them regularly.
Let's face it, we know that there's one person that will always be listening.
Yeah, but
we want more than just her.
Unless she pays us.
We do love her.
It's so not really worth it.
We got to see her this weekend. Anyway.
So let's get
talking to you, Avery.
Jump into it. This is the first episode back. First episode of October. First episode of the Shocktober. Hopefully I get like a cool like theme song. What?
You're just getting very close to the microphone.
Yeah, because it sounds better. Hopefully I get like a nice creepy theme song. I can't really cover our theme song in like a harpsichord or something because I don't have anything to record that with, but hopefully I find something cool. And also, just going off what I'm planning on doing to our icon, like our little icon, I'm going to make it Halloween-y, and I promise I'm not a furry. I'm just a werewolf on there probably.
Oh my God, you're not doing anything to mine. Let's just jump right into this list, okay?
Anyway, so this week's list is my top 11 because I wrote 10 and then I remembered one.
It's the second time you've done this.
Okay, but this time at least it was intentional. I wrote 10 and then I remembered one and I had to put them in, but I'd already written like the bottom four, so I was like, okay. So this is top 11 slasher villains. Slashers are probably my favorite subgenre within horror, but what is a slasher movie? So, according to tvtropes.com, slasher, so a near indestructible serial killer stalking young girls, a combination that allows for buckets of gore and enough flesh to titillate. Anyway, killers are usually driven by revenge. Many are explicitly supernatural. Victims are usually teenagers or young adults, all usually guilty of some minor vice like sex, drugs, or alcohol. Or
like that show,
shirking
sex,
responsibility.
Drugs, and rock and roll.
They're spectacularly slaughtered. Eventually, there will only be one girl left standing.
The final girl.
The final girl, yes. Or guy. In some cases, it is a guy.
But it's usually like the final girl.
The only morally pure member of the main cast. There are also some other elements that they didn't have in their definition, such as usually the killer is masked in some way and usually has some sort of iconic weapon that they
and the look.
use. Yeah, like a specific look. Sometimes a pretty cool theme song. So here are my honorable mentions. These did not make it to the list.
Oh, Lord.
Anne from Happy Birthday to Me. The Phantom Killer from The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Gunther from... Yeah, it's good. Gunther from The Funhouse. Axel Palmer from My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, which one?
The original.
I've only seen the remake with Jensen Ackles.
Eric from The House on Sorority Row. Kenny Hampson from Terror Train. Alex Hammond from the original Prom Night. Mr. Slauson from Tourist Trap, and the Xenomorph from Alien, because that first movie is basically a slasher in space.
I was gonna say, is it considered a slasher? I thought it was more of like a sci-fi.
It's an isolated crew
murder
who are picked off one by one by an unknown assailant until there's only one girl left who fights it off.
Okay.
And kills it. It's a slasher movie basically, and there's a lot of blood and gore.
Okay.
These are my like honorable mentions right now. These are like the real OGs. Like, these are number 15, 14, 13, whatever. So Angela from Sleepaway Camp, the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers, who probably would have been on this list if it hadn't turned out that the creator was like fucking weirdo and not a good person. Candyman from Candyman. Chucky from Child's Play, and Norman Bates from Psycho. And then I had two that I wasn't really sure. I wanted to keep them on the list, but that's
this
Penny.
This is the longest honorable... Is the honorable mention list longer than your actual list?
Yeah. Pennywise
what the fuck, dude?
From It, and Jigsaw from Saw. And I have one dishonorable mention.
Is it considered a slasher if he's like... if he's killing them to eat them?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
That's what Leatherface does.
I don't like Leatherface. I'm assuming he's on the fucking list.
One dishonorable mention is the Leprechaun from Leprechaun because it's fucking ridiculous.
Okay, let's hop into the actual
So here's how I ranked them. Memorability and impact, how actually scary they are, their motive, their look, their weapon of choice or weapons of choice, the creativity of their kills, and slightly their overall kill count, because that's kind of unfair because sometimes they don't get a sequel, so they don't have that many. Number 11. You know, it's 11 because it's scary, and that's different, and it's weird.
Say it. You take so long to get to your list. Go.
Brenda Bates, who appeared in Urban Legend and briefly in Urban Legend Final Cut. She's portrayed by Rebecca Gayheart. She killed 10 people. Her best kill, in my opinion, is the character Parker Riley in the first Urban Legend, where she bashes his head against a toilet and then sticks Pop Rocks and Drano down his throat. And he dies that way because
Is this the one that also has like the headlights game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the one with Jared Leto in it. He doesn't die though.
And is oh shit, what's her name? From the American Pie movies and from Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
You know who I mean?
Yes.
What's her name?
I don't know.
But you know?
Yep. I think it's Tina something.
Not Tina.
Laura something.
No, you keep talking and then I'll probably shout out her name.
Anyway, why she's on the list. First, I wanted to have at least one woman on the list because it's pretty outweighed in terms of men. I mean,
Tara Reid.
Tara Reid, yeah.
I apologize.
There are some women later, but they're kind of part of an overall scheme. So, originally I had Angela from Sleepaway Camp as my at least one token woman, but then I kind of remembered that she's not actually a woman. Spoiler alert.
Sex-crazed is that?
Yeah, it's really confusing and probably transphobic by today's standards.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Also, I love urban legends. I have two very large urban legend collected encyclopedias.
I've only seen the first movie though.
Yeah, the first one's worth watching. We watched the second one. Is like they're making a movie about urban legends coming true or something. It has what's her face from Once Upon a Time in it.
Wow. So many
Emma,
people.
the main character for Once Upon a Time. Okay. Jennifer Morrison.
Yes.
Anyway, I'd love to see some of the classic urban legends realized on screen, like the killer in the back seat, the person hiding under cars to slash people's ankles.
Is that like the Hook Man or whatever?
Yeah, the Hook Man was one of the early ones.
Did they do the Jersey Devil in this?
No, because that's like a thing. That's a cryptid.
Okay.
It's not like an urban legend.
Okay.
But then in the third one, it's like actually supernatural. Like it's actually Bloody Mary. There's 3. Urban Legend, Urban Legend Final Cut, and then Urban Legend Bloody Mary.
As a kid, that was like terrifying.
So it also allows for a lot of creativity when it comes to her killings. Her motive is pretty solid. It doesn't really excuse any of her actions, but you sort of get where she's coming from. The main character was responsible for her dad's death because she was doing the headlight game with her dad, and then he crashed and died. Plus, I kind of like the parka look. But she has going.
What was her reason for killing everyone else?
Revenge.
Okay. All right.
Girl power is how I finished that one. Why she isn't higher, she hasn't had a ton of lasting impact on the slasher genre, and mainly existed because of another killer who's much further down the list because of their movie.
All right.
Number 10, Sheriff George Fraser, a.k.a. The Prowler, who appeared in The Prowler from 1981.
Never seen.
He's portrayed by Farley Granger. Kill count 8. Best kill, impaling Sherry, who's a woman, in the shower with a pitchfork. It's pretty fucking hardcore. This movie was actually filmed in Cape May, and the first time I watched it was with someone who regularly vacations in Cape May, so it was a little bit ruined because she kept pointing out all the places she recognized in the movie.
I've only ever been there once, so I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm not rich, so I can't.
Less than 1 year old. Oh, I hear a dog downstairs.
Boofing. Where is he coming from? Why he's on the list. So he hits all the major criteria for a slasher killer. He's out for revenge. He's got a pretty impressive look, which is like a costume / mask. It's like he's wearing like full army fatigues and like a gas mask, like a weird mask. He has a unique weapon, which is a pitchfork, which you really must admire because it's really hard to do a lot with a pitchfork. You can really only stab. It. Yeah, and they're really heavy and they're really cumbersome. So, I mean, he's really trying his best. The Prowler is also directed by Joseph Zito, and this actually won him the gig to direct Friday the 13th Final Chapter, which came out 3 years later. And allegedly, Tom Savini, who did the makeup for this movie, considers this film to be his finest work, but I doubt that. That was an IMDb trivia fact, and he's done a lot better.
Like that.
Maybe at the time, briefly, but I mean, you have to watch literally any other movie that Tom Savini's done work for, and it's more impressive. He's eerie and menacing. And he shows that sometimes the cops in these movies aren't the ones who can always help you. He's sort of like an R-rated Scooby-Doo villain in a way.
Like scary movie.
Because like his
Officer Doofy.
His mask comes off and she's like, Sheriff Frazier. Like it's a little bit like Scooby-Doo-ish. So why he isn't higher. So the creativity of his kills isn't always the most impressive, as was mentioned with the pitchfork. And he's generally faded into obscurity in the ensuing years after the Prowler's release. Plus his motive isn't super solid. It was because he was away fighting in World War II and his girlfriend broke up with him with a Dear John letter. And then he comes back the night of this dance, and then he kills her and her new boyfriend. And then the reason that he started killing again is because they decided to start up the Valentine's Day dance again.
And he was like,
or whatever it was, like homecoming dance.
That sounds
and
like
it's
Bloody Valentine.
It's very Scooby-Doo-ish. He's doing it because he just doesn't want this party to happen. Yeah, so it's pretty paper thin. Number 10, Cropsy.
That was 10.
Number 9, Cropsy. Who appeared in The Burning from 1981. Portrayed by Lou David, kill count 9. His best kill is actually a series of kills that happen in rapid succession when he ambushes a bunch of kids on a canoe because they're like out searching for
children.
Yeah, he's like a sleepaway camp, like a camp killer.
Oh, that's
like,
fucked up.
Classic. So it's really fucking brutal. What happens is they're out searching for this girl who went missing because he killed her, and they go out in the middle, like on a raft that they made themselves because they were trapped on an island. They go out to this canoe and it looks empty.
And they camp is out on an island.
No, they were on a canoe trip and then he like took all the canoes.
I was gonna say.
And so they get close to this canoe and then he just like pops up and just like kills 4 or 5 of them, just like really, really brutally. Because his weapon of choice is garden shears, hence why he got the name Cropsy, because I guess like crop shears or something like that. So
never heard of crop shears.
Why he's on the list? Cropsy is a truly formidable camp-based killer.
Stupid name though.
It's actually comes from a urban legend.
Still stupid name though.
Yeah, he's got a somewhat understandable motive as he was burned alive by kids trying to prank him. Still doesn't excuse his actions, but it's understandable.
But we get it.
And he's coming back for revenge against those kids who are now counselors. His look is intimidating, and his choice of weapon, garden shears, are also iconic. It's on the box art for the movie, and allow for some seriously creative kills, creativity in his kills. Plus, as I've mentioned, that canoe ambush is fucking savage. Why he isn't higher, kind of like the previous 2, Cropsy has been overshadowed, not as much as the others, but still to some degree, by the more famous slashers out there. While it's not Cropsy's fault, I also noticed that Harvey Weinstein was one of the writers on The Burning, so I kind of had to keep him low. He was one of 4, but he was still one of them. So this is becoming quite a hot
8.
button episode. 8, Billy from, do you remember what he's from? Because you've seen it.
The Final Girls.
1974. Black Christmas.
Right now, I'm just thinking of, in the movie, the hot chick, Billy.
Anyway, he's from the original Black Christmas. He was portrayed by Bob Clark, who plays his physical form.
The Black Christmas movies.
And Nick Mancuso, who does the voice. Kill count 6. Best kill was Barbara Cord, who's played by Margot Kidder, rest in peace, who he stabbed multiple times in the chest with a glass unicorn while she slept. Although the hook to the head and the first like dry cleaning bag suffocation, they're also pretty iconic, but I think this one's
so
the best.
Iconic. Murder.
Why he's on the list. He's one of the oldest killers on my list. He's actually tied with number 5 as their movies were released within 10 days of each other.
Do you mean he was old in the movie or the movie
like,
is
literally
is
like
filmed old?
Old. It is an old movie.
What are you like impressed that this 85-year-old man is a serial killer?
I would be. Billy really helped to define slasher films before they were really even a thing.
He got the creepy phone call down.
Yeah. He's deranged, and the idea of someone like Billy being able to stay inside your attic or home for days on end.
Looking like a fucking Wayne's brother in the
That's
movie.
only
White
in the
Chicks.
fucking remake, and I hate that movie. I'm talking the
What,
original.
White Chicks?
No,
Okay.
the remake of Black Christmas, and that's not him. That's like his sister or something. Anyway, staying inside your attic and home for days on end without being noticed is pretty terrifying. That's like
Yeah, I'm happy that I'm in an apartment now.
Yeah.
Only because I don't have an attic. And
like after I saw this movie, I didn't live in an attic, but I lived in the third floor of a house.
His room was the
and it was
attic
adjacent
floor.
to the attic, and like the attic doesn't have a door, so I'd have to walk past it every time to get into my bedroom. And after that, I was walking a little bit faster because it was just like really creepy. Like me, it's like that no fear, one fear comic. That's me. Someone hiding in your attic, one fear. That's me.
I get you. Why wasn't he higher?
Anyway, there's still more reasons.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's also kept entirely in the dark / obscured, so you never truly get to see him, which kind of adds to the scare factor that it could be anybody. I would probably say Billy is the scariest killer to me on the list,
Really?
just due to how grounded in reality he is. He's probably the most realistic killer on this list.
Guess.
I don't know if someone could get away with that for that long, but like just the fact that someone would just, break into your house and just
Wasn't it like his
hide in your
childhood
attic.
home? Or did they just change it for the remake?
That was the remake.
Okay, I just couldn't remember since I've seen both.
In the original, I'll just get into why he isn't higher. So he basically has no backstory, no discernible
They
motive
gave him
outside
backstory for the remake.
outside of being crazy.
They gave him,
No
like, a sister.
iconic weapon and no iconic look. Billy can't really hold a candle to the following killers. While he definitely paved the way for a lot of them, being the first does not necessarily mean being the best. He is still great in my opinion, though. But yeah, in the original, I think it's literally just he escaped from some institution, and that was just where he decided to go.
Yeah.
Because he also killed some girl who's not related to anybody who lives in the sorority house. Just like he found her, like I guess, on his way. Plus, the ending of that movie is great.
Up? What's the ending? Is it just you seeing?
Well, it's the whole like killers inside the house, blah 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 blah, which is really intense.
I hate that. That is like the one thing in movies that I don't care how many times I've seen it, like the chills that I get.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's not okay.
I would also like to mention the killer from When a Stranger Calls, the original.
Exactly
I would have put him on here, but it's very, very similar to Billy.
See, for me, I haven't seen the original, but the amount of times that me and my best friend have seen the remake, but like we would watch it all the time, but every time she would get the phone call and it was like, Jill, the call is coming from inside the house, we'd both be like, no.
Yeah, it just makes you feel uncomfortable. It's a real like violation of like your personal.
And like in the movie The Visit, I know you haven't seen it, but when like they're video chatting. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh, yeah, spoilers for all these movies.
Yeah, when they're video chatting with the mom and she like they finally get like the paint stuff like off the video camera and she's like, those aren't your grandparents. Shit. Me and my mom were in the theater and we were like, no.
Well, it's just it really just like kind of speaks to something like someone coming into your home, the place you call the most safe place in the world to you, and violating it is really, really scary. And this movie gets to it, and so does When a Stranger Calls. The first 15 minutes of When a Stranger Calls, I mean, the rest of the movie kind of falls apart, but the first 15 minutes of When a Stranger Calls, I will still say are some of the scariest and most well done, tense scenes in cinema. It's really,
and I know that
really
you don't
scary.
love the remake of that, but I do, and I just
because the original,
it's
every
time I watch it.
Entirely set that one night. That's the first 15 minutes. It's that one night, and then she's grown up.
Oh, because in the remake, it's like the first 10 minutes. It's another house. It's like the aftermath.
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
And then it starts with.
She's played by
Jill.
Carol Kane in this one too.
Oh, this one is Camilla Bell.
Yeah, Carol Kane,
Cassidy's in it.
Who's from
Carol King.
The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. She plays the landlord. This movie.
Sorry, we just went off.
I mean, it's good. It's that's what makes them scary. That makes them good.
Yeah, but those moments. No matter how many times I see them. 7,
Victor Crowley.
Hold on. I recognize the name. Should I know?
Well, one of the movies is called Victor Crowley, but it's not here. He's appears in Hatchet from 2006, Hatchet 2 from 2010, Hatchet 3 from 2013, and Victor Crowley in 2017. He's portrayed
first Hatchet, maybe?
by the great Kane Hodder, who will come up later in this
Who's
list.
that?
You'll see. His kill count is roughly 55. It's kind of hard to keep track of.
Oh, that's within like all the movies. Okay.
Yeah, all 4. My favorite kill is from the first Hatchet movie. The character Jenna. What he does is he tears her jaw off with a belt sander.
I remember this.
She's like crawling around on the ground, and then he goes and decapitates someone else with a shovel in the meantime. And then he brings the shovel back and just plants it in the ground, and then just picks her up and just impales her on the back end of the shovel, like the wooden dowel part. It was really, really good because these movies are a bit tongue in cheek, like they're a bit silly. So why he's on the list?
I don't know why. I was thinking of what's the movie where they're like in the woods and a bunch of like inbred people come after them?
What?
Death from Supernatural. He's one of them. You know, with
The Hills Have Eyes?
No. With Wrong Turn. That's what I'm thinking
Wrong
of.
Turn.
Wrong Turn. And it has what's her name from Buffy?
Oh, I forgot about the Wrong Turn movies, but none of them are really.
Well, yeah, because it's like a family that's doing it. It's not
those are good movies. Those are fun
when you said Hatchet,
movies.
for some reason I was thinking of Wrong Turn.
Consider them all honorable mentions now.
Especially the first one. The first one's
I've only seen the
fuck.
first 2 or 3, even though I own all of them.
I remember we watched.
Maybe I should finish that series this October. So why he's on the list? So aside from being played by Kane Hodder, who I said we'll get to later, Sizzle for people who know about horror movies, you probably know who I'm talking about. Victor Crowley is an absolute tank of a slasher villain. He's probably the largest slasher villain on my list. He's sort of the polar opposite of Billy from Black Christmas, who mostly uses stealth to kill his victims. And Victor Crowley is just a fucking curse.
He's here.
He's a ghost or whatever he is who will just tear apart anybody who comes into his swamp. And then in parentheses, I have Shrek joke.
Who's going into a swamp?
It's in Louisiana, so it's like it's a swamp tour. Do you remember?
I wouldn't get killed by him.
If you've seen the first one, it's a boat tour, like a nighttime boat tour, and then he
again, like I vaguely recall this.
His films are named after his iconic weapon, a hatchet. But honestly, he doesn't really need it very much, as his hands are just as useful. Another great kill comes from the first movie where he just straight up runs up at a lady and just kind of grabs her bottom of her jaw and the top of her jaw and just sort of rips her head in half.
It's Pac-Man.
It's pretty great. It's fucking brutal. Look that one up on YouTube. Just look up, like, there's probably like a 10-minute... If you want
to see this,
10-minute clip of just all the kills from Hatchet. They are very, very entertaining to watch, and they're just so over the top and ridiculous.
Side note, just because you said how large he is, it made me think of the one wrestler who's in the movie that we watched.
Oh, shit.
With Catherine Isabel.
Yeah, he's another good one.
The sequel was the good one.
See No Evil. That's,
the sequel.
That's another good person for this list. Shit, I really felt...
Is that played by Kane?
Yeah, literally played by Kane. Yeah.
Kane.
I kind of dropped the ball, I guess, with my honorable mentions.
Sorry. See, I can bring up the honorable mentions that I randomly remember. Because that one, just like, there was this one character. Let me look up what his character we were rooting for, and she just kept, she kept making it.
The second See No Evil is, the first one's pretty stupid. It's like a classic, like mid-late 2000s.
There's Catherine Isabel, who's also great in Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, 2006. It's the first one's pretty shit, but the second one's actually kind of worth watching, in my opinion. Character's name is Jacob Goodnight. That's the character.
Yeah, but Tamra is the one character. If you guys watch it, trust me, like, at first you're going to be like, damn, this girl's weird. And then you're just going to root, and you're going to root, and you're just going to love her.
We should watch that one again. I watched that for the first time last October.
Because Emily and me were the ones who were like, yeah, Tamra.
So,
sorry about
what was I saying? Victor Crowley was clearly made by someone who loves these kinds of films, and he's all the better for it. Plus, he's got a pretty interesting backstory motive. He was like a deformed child, and then some kids were trying to play a prank on him, and they lit his house on fire.
Oh my God.
And his dad, who was out at the time, comes back. He was chopping wood. He like runs, and he's trying to break down the door to get in to save him. But Victor's standing on the other side of the door, and the dad just puts the hatchet through the door and kills him accidentally. And then eventually dies of heartbreak. His dad's also played by Kane Hodder. Yeah.
Did he blame his dad?
No. Well, Victor's dead. No, he doesn't.
Okay, good.
Actually, I think that's like a thing. It's like he kind of loves his dad.
Like well, his dad was trying to save him. He didn't mean to.
So why he isn't higher.
Bust his head open.
In a way, Victor Crowley kind of veered into parody territory with the later films in the Hatchet series, especially Victor Crowley, which is basically a comedy. There's like not really even a shred of horror in that, which kind of detracts from his menace. Plus, you can't really place a parody of the character ahead of the character that they're parodying, as that's just kind of sick. Who does that?
Calm down.
Number 6. Leslie Vernon, a.k.a. Leslie Mancuso, appeared in Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
I love that movie so much. It is so weird.
He's played by Nathan Basil. His kill count is 10. My favorite kill is the unnamed stoner kid. Leslie removes this kid's heart with a post hole digger and then puts the heart in the kid's hand as he dies.
The movie a bit.
So if you haven't seen it,
I thought it was going to be like stupid, but I loved it.
It's kind of different from these other movies on the list, as it's mostly filmed as a mockumentary set in a world where all these other movies exist, like Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, like all of them exist.
No, like the people do. It's not like the movies exist.
Yeah, I'm saying, but
the
like
actual
Jason Voorhees is a real person in this world.
But you said the movies exist.
So being a slasher killer is like a veritable career choice.
Like you could become the next famous slasher.
Yeah, and it's like a whole process. It's just like this group of film students who are following him around, recording him trying to become like a slasher killer for a movie.
And the entire time he's like talking about how he has to like pick like
the right
girl to like focus like the energy on, because like that's usually what happens.
I don't want to spoil it though, because it is great to watch.
Oh my God,
going in basically so blind. It was really really
has
fun.
Like the best like classic like ending where you think
I will spoil like the ending, but I won't spoil kind of like the twists that happen like within the movie.
The twists and turns.
So why he's on the list. So Leslie aspires to be the greatest slasher in his world. He offers a great deconstruction of the slasher villain and the slasher film's known tropes, such as like choosing a survivor girl, having an Ahab,
having a weapon.
Yeah, an iconic look or a weapon, and like a tragic backstory. He was also mentored by someone who is heavily implied to be Billy from Black Christmas.
Yeah.
He's funny, and he's actually played by Herschel from The Walking Dead. He's funny and he's weirdly likable, so much so that you actually kind of feel bad for him when he, quote, dies at the end of the movie.
As every slasher villain does at the end of the movie.
But then it's kind of like he's trained to pretend to be dead and like slow his body functions down. It's really, really cool, really cool.
Yeah, but it has like... Are you saying like
it has like a logical reason? No. It has like logical reasons behind why everything happens in the movies. Like he shows them that like he plans on all these kids coming to this like kind of desolate house. He has
without like inviting them, like he knows how to get them.
Sawed off / weakened all the limbs on the second story
staircase.
No, the all the trees outside, so they can't climb out. Like he's like put all these like different things, and
he
like,
kind of Kevin McAllister'd it a bit.
Yeah, like
but
he
not
talks about how he like has to train to run, but look like he's walking the whole time.
Yeah, it's really
and
funny.
all that. So why he isn't higher?
Just like it's part of the job, man.
Again, imitation is flattery, but it isn't better than the original. While he's probably the most likable killer on the list, maybe second most likable after someone else. Okay. His film has not impacted the genre in many notable ways, but I'm still waiting on a sequel because I still think it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh God, it's just so funny.
Yeah. So, number 5. That's where we started to get to the big boys.
Will you tell me when we get to the likable one?
Yeah, I have it as a reason. Okay. Number 5, Leatherface, aka he has 3 different names: Bubba Sawyer, Jedediah Sawyer, and Thomas Hewitt. Like the fucking timeline in those movies is so hard.
Texas Chainsaw movie there is, even the one with Alexandra Daddario. I hate them. That one was
terrible, though.
I hate them all.
I know, but it's not like you hate them because they're bad movies. It's because they're so well made that they freak you out.
They are,
except for the one with Alexandra
downright
Daddario.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but she ends up like, because she ends up being like related to them somehow.
Yeah, but
and then she ends up being like, you know what?
That's set in like the original
Help me kill this fucker
timeline. Then there's the remake timeline, but then there's also like a divergent timeline within the original timeline. It's so weird.
The 2006 one, was that it?
2003.
2003, the one with Jessica.
Oh, here, I'll just go through all of them. So he's appeared in...
I saw that one.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, and then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, excuse me. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 from 1986, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 in 1990, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation from 1994, which actually has...
That's when I was born.
Has Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning from 2006, Texas Chainsaw 3D from 2013, and then Leatherface from 2017. He's been portrayed by Gunnar.
What's the one from 2017?
It was like straight to video. Apparently,
is that the one with Bella Thorne?
Possibly.
I just remember seeing her in the trailer for one of them.
I don't know.
Okay.
He's been portrayed by Gunnar Hansen, who's probably the most famous for playing him. Bill Johnson, R.A. I'm going to butcher this. Mailoff, Robert Jacks, Andrew Briniarski, Dan Yeager, and Sam Strike. Kill count roughly 34, but then again, it's really hard to track because of all the different timelines. Possibly. So the overall character of Leatherface on screen has killed roughly 34. The original.
It is the original one? Because I just remember being like, dude.
Mentioning the kid in the wheelchair, my favorite kill is Franklin Hardsey Enright, who was chopped up with a chainsaw in the first film because it's just like so brutal and so out of nowhere. I was considering maybe like the classic one where he like just beats the dude in the head with a fucking...
People get hung on hooks in that, don't they?
Yeah, that's the one where he grabs the girl and then brings her and hangs her on the hook. But that's not like how he actually kills her. He freezes her to death.
He just kind of puts them there as like
freezer.
You stay here. I'll be back. You know?
Yeah, which is obviously like heavily used in the Dead by Daylight video game.
Which I don't like playing.
Playing a lot of.
I love watching. Oh, it's like a movie.
Jess really likes watching me play that game. So why he's on the list?
But I root for the killers.
So as I was saying, we're getting to the big boys here. These are the most iconic ones. Even if you're not that into horror, you've probably heard at least
These are the
one
ones
of
that you're going to
five.
crack open a beer with on a Saturday.
So Leatherface is the earliest slasher on my list by 10 days. He beats Billy from Black Christmas, and probably the first major slasher killer whose film fits the criteria of what we believe to be a slasher film by today's standard. Like some people say Norman Bates,
seems fucked up,
but like Psycho isn't really a slasher.
We had a discussion on whether or not Jigsaw was considered a slasher villain, and I said no
because he tortures people.
Because he's into torture porn.
Allegedly, he's never actually been responsible for a death.
Oh no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he like made all like these like elaborate like traps, and it's like if they survived, he was just kind of like, okay, you did it, congrats, you won. He wasn't like, I'm gonna kill you. He was like, have fun, bitches. And he was just like enjoying like the game. He wasn't really there for like that I want to murder you. He was like, are you smart enough? Are you willing to like live and shit? So I don't think he's a slasher. I think he's into torture porn. Like American Horror Story started to get to. Thank God this season they went back to not torture porn. It's actually pretty good this season.
So
let's check it out.
Anyway, Leatherface, he's brutal. He's got an iconic look. He is menacing, and he's got a classically iconic wear people's weapon. Faces? Yeah, that's why he's called Leatherface.
Just gross.
In the remake, he takes the face of Jessica Biel's boyfriend, the guy from like Haven and stuff, and then he wears that for like the last half of the movie.
Wait.
He's got a mustache and like a little beard.
Oh, it was Duke. It was Duke.
I guess.
It was Eric.
Yeah, Eric something.
He was on the Eric.
And then Matt Bomer is in the sequel, but also prequel to the 2003 one. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. But no, I think the thing that unsettled me the most is at the end of whichever movie I saw like first. It's like
the original.
I guess so. It's when she's like getting away and she's like in the back of a truck driving away, and he's just standing in the street like watching her like leave, and I was just like, he's not even chasing after. He's like,
well, no, then he like freaks out with his chainsaw, and that's just how the movie ends. He just does this weird chainsaw dance,
but he doesn't like run after. He's just kind of like, ah.
Well, he's like, not an
creepy,
idiot.
Like 200-year-old grandma in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? And it's alive?
And then no, it's not like the grandma. It's like the grandpa.
What?
And he was like allegedly the best at killing the cows or the pigs, and like they didn't even feel anything, and then they like cut her finger and like put it into his mouth, and he like drinks her blood. It's so weird,
fucking
but it's great.
Weird.
Like, that movie is just, like, so fucked.
I encourage you to not do this. Don't watch it.
So why he isn't higher? While he predates everyone on this list,
he creeps my shit out.
Leatherface has barely any motive outside of wanting to eat people and just, like, general
chaos. And wear
chaos.
their faces.
Plus, he's usually doing what he's doing because he's at the beck and call of someone else in his family who's telling him to do it. So that's not really a solid motive. So think for yourself, Leatherface. Do what you want to do.
I have a question. Is the killer in House of Wax considered?
The remake or the original?
I've only seen the remake, but I know that the original... Okay. Well, because the remake, it ends up being more than one. So I guess not in that. But also as Jared Padalecki, Paris Hilton.
Talking about more than one killer.
And
Jess, you're not going to take this segue from me. That was too beautiful.
Lucas from One Tree Hill.
Number 4, Ghostface, who appeared in Scream from 1996.
Oh, yeah, that counts because they both had like an equal amount.
Scream 2 from 1997, Scream 3 from 2004, and Scriforum from 2011. Portrayed, I have the portrayed by and the kill count next to who they're portrayed by because it's different in every movie. So actually, overall, in every movie, the voice is done by Roger L. Jackson.
I do have favorites.
Who also plays Mojo Jojo. Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard.
My favorites.
5, killed 5. Laurie Metcalf and Timothy Oliphant, 8. Scott Foley, he's the only one to do it by himself, 9. And then Emma Roberts and Rory Culkin, 10 or 11. Because people,
he's a Culkin?
Yeah, because some people debate whether or not Kirby, who's played by Hayden Panettiere, is actually dead. Because Wes Craven, God rest his soul, said that...
Oh, was he planning for another one?
Yeah, he wanted to do another one, and he said that he probably would have brought her back for that. But then they decided to do the show instead, and then the first season of the show wasn't that good. And then the second season of the show was really good, and then they did a special, and then they were like, nope, we're rebooting the show, and now it's completely going to be different.
Yeah. Wait, they only killed 5
It is going to have R.J.
movie?
Seiler in it, though, from Power Rangers.
Which
the Blue Ranger.
Oh.
Billy.
Billy. Wait, but in the first one, they only killed 5 people, including the mom?
I guess maybe... maybe 6. So I guess the mom, the principal. Tatum. Steve. The... Casey. And...
Are you counting the driver?
And the sidekick guy, of Gale Weathers. That's 6.
There wasn't another one?
No. All right, so my favorite kill. So this was pretty hard. There's Tatum Riley in the garage door in Scream.
Terrifying.
Cece, Buffy Summers, Cooper in Scream 2. Getting chucked off the roof. What did you just call? Buffy Summers.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. Tom Prince being blown up in Scream 3. Officer Perkins, played by Anthony... in
the fourth one?
Yeah. Getting stabbed in the head and then just like trying to run away and then dying and being like, fuck Bruce Willis. But you really, really cannot get any better than Casey Becker in the first Scream, played by Drew Barrymore. That was such a fucking ballsy move. That was an alpha move by everybody involved in that movie.
To hire such a big...
Yeah, she was huge. They advertised the shit out of having her in it. First. And then she's like the number 1 person on the poster, and she dies within the first 10 minutes.
But it's like oh my god.
It's a very good...
seeing that for the first time,
great sequence,
it is so scary to watch because you're like, where the fuck is he? And then, of course, they make fun of it so much in the scary movies with, I can see your feet. Yeah. Can you turn around?
And that's also, that was an homage to Alfred Hitchcock in Psycho and having Janet Leigh being killed within the first 40 minutes, in the shower because she was the main character.
I don't like the movie Psycho that much. I thought it was... Because I think it was... People were like so... Who I was like watching it with were like so like hyped up about it that I was like, all right. And I was really fucking bored.
It's a slow burn. I'll give you that.
Really bored.
Plus, if you know the twist, which practically everybody does.
I didn't. And I was still bored.
I was going to say, if you don't know the twist, then it is better. But
I was bored and I didn't know the twist and I still was bored.
Okay, so
sorry,
why
guys.
Ghostface, he/she, is on this list. Ghostface single-handedly revitalized the dying slasher genre in the mid-90s, as was referenced with Urban Legend before. Ghostface is aware of slasher films and their unwritten rules and plays to and against them. Despite being generally a normal person or a duo of people, Ghostface comes off as threatening and unstoppable and practically supernatural in his or her dealings.
Anyone.
The kills are often creative and always brutal. Plus, Ghostface has an iconic and easily replicable look based off a classic Halloween costume, which already existed, and a practical weapon of choice, which was a combat knife, which makes sense. Like, you would have a combat knife if you were killing people. So why he/she isn't higher? Now, look, I love the Scream movies. I love Ghostface.
Some of the funniest lines in a horror movie.
But there really is no topping the top three. You probably already know who they are at this point. And there is good reason for that. And also Ghostface is multiple people, so they're kind of a discount there because it's not one person the whole time.
We talk about how Matthew Lillard is in it and he is one of the killers in the first one? I think, because he plays Shaggy in Scooby-Doo, he just had a breakdown and we're flipping when these movies came out and he was like, you know what? I'll be the killer now.
There was a plan in Scream 2 to have it that he wasn't actually dead. Because he does have a TV dropped on him, which is pretty brutal, but also you could potentially survive that.
After being stabbed quite a lot, though.
Yeah, but then paramedics show up within like
some of the best lines.
Minutes.
I think I'm dying, man.
Hit me with the phone, dick.
No, the best is my mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah.
Hello. What's your motive? Peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive. And
we should watch Scream tonight.
Yeah, Steve Ulrich. What a creepy, psycho-looking babe, you know? Still to this day, #Riverdale.
Anyway, number 3. So you probably already know who the top 3 are, but...
Yeah, I know.
Number 3.
Which order you would put.
Probably going to get a little bit of flack for this, because people usually put him as number 1. Michael Myers.
Michael.
Who has appeared in Halloween from 1978, Halloween 2 from 1981, not Halloween 3 because that one has nothing to do with the rest of the series. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. No, Halloween 3 is Season of the Witch. It's about this evil corporation who's really run by like some crazy cult who put out these Halloween masks that have a piece of Stonehenge in them or like something like that, so that when this commercial is played at a specific time on Halloween night, because they're telling the kids, don't forget to put on your mask and watch the commercial, like something crazy is going to happen, like you'll see something.
Murder them?
It literally melts their head. It's so fucking weird.
Never seen that one.
Yeah.
I thought I'd seen a lot of them.
Anyway, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers from 1988. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers from 1989. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995. That one has Paul Rudd in it. Halloween H2O, 20 years later, 1998. Halloween Resurrection, 2002. Halloween 2007. Halloween 2 from 2009, and then Halloween from 2018. There are 3 movies.
That's coming out this month.
Yeah, there are 3 movies in this series just called Halloween. That's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I can't wait for that. It looks fantastic.
See this one in theaters this month.
He's been portrayed by...
And I'm just going to be like, Jamie!
Nick Castle, Tony Moran, Will Sandin, Dick Warlock, John DiMaggio, not the guy who plays Bender, just a random child actor from the 80s. George P. Wilbur, Chris Durand, Don Shanks, Brad Lorry, Tyler Mane, Dague Fairsh, and James Jude Courtney, who plays him in the most recent one. Although Nick Castle, who played him in the first movie, did do one scene in the remake, the most recent remake, because they were like, gotta
Which
happen.
one?
Like the,
which remake? Oh, like the start
the one
of the
that's
remakes?
coming out like
okay.
in the next couple weeks.
Well, is this considered a remake or is it just a
sequel? Sorry, it's a sequel.
It's a sequel. It's just disregarding every other sequel. Thank God.
A lot of movies have done that recently, where they're just like,
they were like,
screw all the other sequels.
Did this a fuck up, and we made this series.
The only But the thing is, they also decanonized this Halloween 2, which personally I think is pretty good. I don't think you should discount it. Is that the one where she has
like the kid?
No, Halloween 2 is the one that's set immediately after the first one. Like, she goes to the hospital and then he follows her to the hospital.
Maybe Jamie Lee Curtis was like, you know what? Yeah, no, I won't do it unless...
The thing is, they've done this before in the Halloween series twice, where they've just been like, okay, the ones out... Yeah, because... So there's Halloween and Halloween 2. Halloween 4, the Return of Michael Myers. So Halloween 4, 5, and 6 are considered their own timeline. Then Halloween H2O discounts all of them except for the first two and says that now her kid is Josh Hartnett.
My God.
And then Halloween Resurrection continues on that line.
He's a werewolf, right?
The Halloween reboot happened. Oh, it's so weird. And now they're rebooting it again. So his on-screen kill count.
They're rebooting the sequels again, not the OG.
It's pretty intense. 112. My favorite kill, it's got to be from the first one, Bob Sims, who's the one he just stabs with a knife and then pins to a door in the kitchen. And then he just kind of stands there and watches him die. And he does that classic Michael Myers head tilt while he's looking at him, which is kind of like what puppies do.
Are you calling Michael Myers a puppy?
He's a bit of a puppy. So why he's on the list, I stand Michael Myers.
Stop.
No, I stand my number one.
I stand Mike Myers, like Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby. That's the second Mike Myers reference in this podcast.
Second?
I said Shrek earlier. Yeah. Did you know that there's a whole podcast called Mike Check, and they're just working through the movies of Mike Myers?
Tell me they don't do The Love Guru.
I don't know.
Tell me they skipped that one.
That's the series finale. Still waiting on Phrasing the Bar to come out, the Brendan Fraser podcast. Oh. Looking at you, Matt Stewart and Jess Perkins. Get the fuck on,
Brendan
Matt.
Fraser.
I would listen to that.
I would
love to listen to like the random ones where he was like an extra, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And
like where he's an actor in a movie that he's in.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes back in action.
Looney Tunes back in action is better than Space Jam.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Don't fucking at
Space
me.
Jam is on its own level, okay? It's in space.
Why he's on the list. Did you know that Michael Jordan, throughout his entire career on the Chicago Bulls and every other team he was on, under his shorts, wore his original shorts from the University of North Carolina?
Yes.
And that's why...
Because he had to get a bigger pair to wear on the outside so they would fit, and that's why longer basketball shorts started to become a thing. Yeah. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
I know.
Also, I thought that you were about to do I have no nostalgia for the movie Holes.
I have no nostalgia for the movie Space Jam.
I have it for Holes and
Put on Space Jam in my living room while I'm making dinner and see if I turn from my sausage and peppers. I won't.
It's such a good movie.
Don't care.
It is the best movie.
I have no nostalgia for the movie Space Jam.
It's so good, guys. Go watch it right now.
Anyway, why he's on the list. Sorry. While Leatherface came 4 years before Michael Myers is really the first great slasher villain. Most people regard him as this. This is true. This is fact.
And it had the wonderful Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
I thought you were going to say the wonderful last name of Myers.
I don't think I've ever given my last name out.
Well, they're going to think it's spelled like this.
It's not.
Do you want me to cut this part out?
No, it's okay.
Because I'm pretty sure you share this every time on Facebook, and that's pretty obvious. She was the one sharing it.
I just never said it loud.
I can cut it out if you want. Okay, I'm not cutting it out. This is all staying in. This is raw.
Guys, I'm not related.
No editing. New rule of the podcast.
Fine, then now I can tell everyone. I told Dan that if we could keep my last name, if we ever got married, we can name our child Michael. And he was like, I don't want that. I was like, what? Come on.
Anyway.
We're Jonathan Rice.
Michael Myers is Reese. Jonathan Rhys Myers.
Whatever, he spells it the correct way.
Michael Myers is silent, intimidating. He has an iconic look
tall
of a spray-painted white William Shatner mask.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what it originally
a fantastic theme song. Like that's just like
he's really tall.
That is the boppest of bops for Halloween movies.
When it comes on, you're just like,
Yeah, well, I'm gonna play a little snippet. I'm gonna play as long as I can, like maybe 5 seconds, because
before we get
of copyright. Here we go. Bump.
Stop.
There we go.
That's all,
Whenever
guys.
that comes on. Actually, he's one of the killers in Dead by Daylight.
Excuse me, guys, I'm so sorry. I just burped.
It's pretty great when he's the killer, one, because he's really easy to go against because he's like the weakest killer. Anyway, but whenever he's chasing you, like the classic chase music from Halloween plays, like
instead of like the heartbeat.
Dun-dun. 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 Actually, John Carpenter, who directed Halloween and stuff, he wrote all the music for it too.
Oh my God.
He's always been into music. He's practically unstoppable, and he's now synonymous with this time of year.
He's so tall.
Why he isn't higher?
Is your voice okay?
Why he isn't higher? Michael Myers is great. There is no debating this.
Oh, God. What are you going to say?
But his efficiency in kills sometimes means a lack of creativity. Sometimes.
I don't need it to be creative.
In Halloween 2, there was a pretty great one where he drowned someone in a really, really hot tub or something, like a hydro tub in a hospital, which is a therapy tub. That's what they're called. Plus his backstory. I do remember
that movie now.
Yeah, his backstory has been changed so many times that it's hard to really get a beat on him. He always killed his sister when he was a little kid. That's always happened.
And
but
sometimes
then, like,
they make it so
in one timeline he was like
his
chosen,
sister, like older, his other sister or whatever.
And one time, like, he was chosen by a cult from a young age, and that's why he like can't be killed. They're called the Cult of Thorn. It's so strange. Yeah.
Is this the series where they have yet another boy in a wheelchair flying down a flight of stairs?
No, that will come later.
Okay. Couldn't remember which series that
comes
was
later.
Sorry, guys.
And then there's sometimes where he is Laurie's
like the
brother.
2000s
There's sometimes
remake.
where he isn't Laurie's brother. In one, he beats one of the spy kids to death with a stick.
Ouch. In the 2000s remake, they make it so like it was his baby sister grown up. Like he killed his older sister, yeah.
Yeah, in Halloween.
Oh, but
the
is
original,
it Laurie? Yeah.
Yeah, it is Laurie, and she's his younger sister.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they do in the remake.
But
I thought you said that they weren't
also
actually related in the original.
She wasn't born yet. Like, just their parents had another kid after one of their kids went to jail and the other was murdered.
But in excuse me. Oh yeah, and also in the remake, he like kills his stepdad too.
Yeah, well, that's just classic Rob Zombie, just like having too much. I just remember the excess.
All right, go on.
And he's let down by some really awful sequels, like really awful, like not so bad they're good,
but he has a
just like genuinely
really wants to stop him.
Unenjoyable pieces of crap horror movies, i.e. when Busta Rhymes does karate to fight Michael Myers in Halloween Resurrection, which is the worst movie in the series.
What about the one where they're doing like a documentary?
Halloween Resurrection.
That's it, like the game show kind of, where it's like who
the
can
live
stay
stream,
overnight.
And then that one kid who's in a bunch of
Halloween, Michael Myers house.
Disney Channel original movies is like
Which
watching.
Which one kid? The kid
the
from
one
the
that looks
the
like
Irish?
he kind of looks like a leprechaun.
And the 13th, that's not the same kid. Sorry. Oh yeah, so Luck of the Irish, I would assume.
Yeah.
He also ends up being in Pretty Little Liars.
That movie's so bad. And then, as much as it pains me to say, the one with Paul Rudd is also really bad as well.
You're talking about Ryan Merriman?
Yes. He's in Halloween Resurrection.
Merriman. Yeah.
Yep. Number 2. So this one might be a little surprise if you know me.
Oh God.
Well, if you knew me in my younger years, because I used to stan this person, but then I started to stan the other one a little bit more.
Oh, wait. So am I going to be wrong? Because I always thought I knew who your favorite was.
You're probably right, because this is who number 2 was my previous favorite of all time, like in middle school and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Then, I know the current one then.
Yeah.
So
number 2 is Freddy Krueger, who has appeared in A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge from 1985, which is and I'm not being like trying to be mean or offensive, one of the gayest horror movies ever made. It's been claimed by the gay community as like
which one is
a great piece of cinema. I'm not kidding you.
I can't think
because
of it.
It's when you watch it now, it's like, wow, this is really a story about a kid who is gay and he doesn't want to accept that he's gay, and that part of himself is personified by Freddy, because it's just like it's really gay.
Okay.
Like he's making out with a girl in a pool house, and then he like starts to turn into Freddy because Freddy's like possessing him, and he's like, oh, I can't be here. So then he just goes to sleep at his friend's house instead, and they're both shirtless, and then he turns into Freddy and he kills his friend. But anyway, it's very much a story about a boy coming to grips with his sexuality, which is admirable by today's standards.
Okay.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Sorry, did I go on too much of a tangent there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. From 1987, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master from 1988, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child from 1989, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare from 1991, Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994, Freddy vs. Jason from 2003, and A Nightmare on Elm Street from 2010. He's been portrayed by Robert Englund and Jackie Earle Haley.
Is he the one who plays Rorschach?
Yeah, roughly 41. Like, people don't really know because also, again,
it's all a dream, man.
Weird timelines. In Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, it's basically like he's killed every child in Springwood already, something like that. My favorite kill is the character Jennifer Caulfield in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 with the Welcome to Prime Time bitch, where he's the TV and he grabs her, and he shoves her head into it. I always thought that was so funny. That's when they're like in
the hospital, right?
Yep, that's my favorite one of the series.
Then what's her name comes back.
I mean, it's not my favorite one in the series because I'm probably going to do a list of these movies at some point, so forget that I said that.
What's her name comes back from the first one?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Heather Langenkamp. That's the...
What's her
Nancy.
Nance. I was about to say Leslie.
Yeah. Heather Langenkamp is Bae. Heather Langenkamp, smash. Always smash.
Didn't her hair turn sort of white?
Smash.
I'm not saying that it's a bad thing.
So why he's on the list? I mean, Freddy Krueger easily has the most personality of any killer on this list. He's the other really likable
silly guy.
And that really did wonders to set him apart early in his career. He also probably has the most iconic weapon of any slasher killer out there.
I hate the remake.
With the glove.
Yeah. The remake wasn't complete shit.
It was all right.
Compared to some remakes of other movies.
I wish they started to go in a certain direction with it.
Also Katie Cassidy. God, I would have
preferred that they had explored a little bit more, where they were talking about like how he wasn't actually guilty of anything and the parents just killed him because they thought he was. I thought that'd be a lot more interesting and allow for a lot more sympathy for him
because he was like
wrongfully killed instead of
it
turns out that he was a fucking pedophile. So
yeah,
which the original Freddy wasn't. They were originally going to do that, but then like this big case happened and they just changed it to child killer because they thought that was better.
Yeah. I do like though the casting for like the remake since it didn't get...
It's got a pretty good cast.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like back when
since what's his name wasn't Freddy in it. Robert.
Jackie O'Haley.
Yeah, I like him. I didn't mind him. He didn't talk as much, so like it wasn't as like fun times.
Well,
you don't like him.
Okay.
I know you don't like
Let me just finish this and we can get into discussion.
Yeah, like I love Katie Cassidy and she was in it, so love her.
Freddy is insanely creative with his kills because he's in the dream world, and that allows for a lot of... Basically, the director of the movie can just go fucking crazy with it, and it's usually even if it's like not scary, it's usually funny, so it's entertaining at least. And he also happens to be the true manifestation of evil in the world. This is all helped by Robert Englund's timeless performance, which really showed in the remake, in my opinion, as it couldn't really be replicated easily whatsoever. Like, Jackie O'Haley is a talented actor, and he couldn't do it justice. He's also scary in ways that kind of stick with you after the movie, as he gets to you in your dreams. So why he isn't higher? Freddy really started to become a comedic character in the later films before being scary, and he lost a lot of that menace, especially in Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, which is fucking terrible. It's my least favorite movie in the series. It has a whole 3D section, but not like a funny 3D. It's just like, what the hell were they thinking? Also, his motive isn't really one you can sympathize with. Yes, he was murdered by a mob of angry parents.
Yeah.
But also he was a child killer, so like he deserved it.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, it is kind of like a tough line.
You get what you give.
To tread with him because like the more creative, more entertaining the kills get, the less scary he really becomes.
Yeah.
And you want him to be scary, but also like that's what kind of set him apart. But I still think he's fantastic, and he'll always have a special place in my heart.
So cozy.
As being really what like introduced me to slashers when I was in 7th grade. I just like
the hat.
I planned to like really just like get into horror movies after being like so scared. Yes, I was in 8th grade. Being like so scared of them for so long.
Sorry, when were you Ash?
9th grade.
Okay.
Sorry. And I was just like, Nightmare on Elm Street, I'll do that one. That one seems cool. Freaking loved it. I watched all the sequels on YouTube because someone had put them up in parts. And just like got so into them. And I remember distinctly one night where I left the high school homecoming and I was sick and I took some NyQuil and like...
Did you have a nightmare?
No, and then
Dan doesn't react well with NyQuil.
I used to be fine with it. Now that I'm older, I get like violently ill if I take NyQuil.
I love NyQuil. If I'm sick, oh my god. I'm dead to the world if I take NyQuil.
I took NyQuil and I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 4 for the first time and I was like, whoa. I was like fighting to stay awake because I was so into it. Which is kind of funny, like falling asleep while watching one of these movies.
Yeah.
Another good kill is Johnny Depp getting sucked into the bed. There's like, honestly, I could make a whole list of just Freddy kills.
His crop tops in that movie were something.
Because there's such a variety of them there. It's insane.
Oh, there's the really creepy one with like the marionette.
Yeah, that's from
the second one, right?
Three.
Okay,
three.
Yeah. Oh my god, that one, like, it hurt my arms, but I was like, this is so cool, but like, oh.
Yeah, where he cuts a kid's arms and legs open and then pulls his veins out and walks him down. Yeah, marionettes him to the top of a building and he jumps off.
And to everyone else, it just looks like he's like up there getting ready to jump.
Well, everyone, it looked like he was sleepwalking because he was known to be a sleepwalker.
Yeah. Oh god.
But also, like, it does get kind of confusing with the rules with Freddy because in some it's like what you're doing in the dream you're doing in real life, but asleep, like that with the sleepwalking. Then another one, it's like you're just sitting there asleep and it's all in your head. It's just, it gets really confusing sometimes.
And then in a crossover movie that he's in, I particularly didn't like what happened. Honey. I won't say it because I don't want to spoil the first person.
Oh. I already said Freddy versus Jason, 2003.
I never said what your first one was, though.
So you said a crossover movie. He's only crossed over in one movie.
You spoiled yourself.
Anyway.
An awful thing happens involving his glove hand. And
that's only insinuated. It doesn't necessarily actually happen.
Oh my god, it is so obvious.
Yeah. Anyway.
They insinuated by just like showing it, basically.
Number one.
That's like saying in Evil Dead, the tree doesn't
go explicitly happens in the movie. Number one.
Awful.
My boy, Jason Voorhees.
Jason Derulo.
He's appeared in Friday the 13th from 1980 as maybe a hallucination. Maybe he was real. I don't know. Friday the 13th Part 2 from 1981. Friday the 13th Part 3, 3D from 1982. Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter from 1984. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning from 1985 as a hallucination. Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives from 1986.
He lives?
Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood from 1988, sorry. Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday from 1993. Jason X from 2001. Was it really
The Final Friday?
Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. And Friday the 13th from 2009.
Freddy vs. Jason really made me feel like bad for Jason.
Yeah, well,
like, I'll
get into that. He's been portrayed by Ari Lehman, Warrington Gillette, Steve Daskowitz, Richard Booker, Ted White, Tom Morga, C.J. Graham, Dan Bradley, Kane Hodder, Ken Kersinger, and Derek Mears. His kill count is 163.
Damn.
Wow. Wink. My favorite kill, honestly, this is really difficult. I could probably do a whole list of Jason kills as well. Mm-hmm. There's the 3D head squeeze where he squeezes the guy's head and the eye pops out towards the screen.
Guys, I want to let you know now my absolute favorite Jason movie is
Part 3.
Part 3.
That's a good one to like.
Because first time me and Dan ever like hung out at his house when we started to like each other. We weren't dating yet. We watched that, and it was the funniest shit I've ever seen, because they were like, look, we can do 3D. So they would, like, hold out a bat real quick, and it would stay there for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. And
then they would swing, and that was just, like, a shot of random children in the street, and then they'd be like, anyway, back to this.
I plan on doing a top... this list was going to be my top... just ranking the Friday the 13th movies, and then it turned into this instead. And I can really go into detail about these movies because I've watched the 8-hour documentary Crystal Lake Memories maybe 5 times in my life.
Which Corey was in it?
Corey Feldman.
And he like the got third movie was spooked, right?
Yeah, the third movie was really hard to film because of those fucking 3D cameras and like fitting them
but so worth it.
Anyway, sorry, Freddy vs. Jason 2003. Oh, I finished that. Mm-hmm. Kill count, favorite kill
2009.
Honestly,
and I don't mind the one with Daniel Panabaker.
Very difficult. Yeah, and 3D. There was the 3D head squeeze, liquid nitrogen head smash from Jason X, the brutalizing of George McFly in the final chapter, the boxing match decapitation from Jason Takes Manhattan.
Good dance moves in the final chapter.
I plan on when I do my ranking of these,
the dance moves.
I'll talk about my favorite kill in each movie as well.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Trey in Freddy vs. Jason. who's a complete douchebag, and then he's laying on a bed, and then Jason comes up and stabs him so many times that his like guts start spilling through the hole in the bed that Jason has made from stabbing him, and then Jason takes each end of the bed, and Trey is laying on his stomach, and Jason just folds the bed up, and it's fucking iconic.
Interesting.
I love it. Why he's number one. So while he has the most kills on this list by a long margin, that's not what defines him as the top slasher in my book. To me, Jason Voorhees is the definitive slasher killer. His look is instantly recognizable when he, like, literally, like, hockey players can't really wear those kinds of hockey masks anymore because
also they're not,
it's so associated with Jason.
They found out that they're not so safe anymore.
That
was only the goalie.
He's got an insanely creative
hockey goalie mask.
Plethora of kills under his belt, all of which are seriously brutal. Every trope we associate with slasher movies practically originates from or was perfected by the Friday the 13th series. Even though he's mute, Jason is extremely expressive too, and that's mostly thanks to a bunch of really skilled stuntmen who have played him, most notably Kane Hodder, who I mentioned earlier, who is probably the one who's most associated with playing him because he played him the most. Mm-hmm. And even though he was playing him in some of the bad movies, like his performance is really good in them. Mm-hmm. And you can almost sympathize him, given his consistent and tragic backstory. He was a deformed kid who was bullied in camp, and he was bullied just so much that
Freddy vs. Jason, it was just like,
they forced him into the lake, and he drowned, and his mom was mad, so she tried to get revenge, and then he ends up seeing his mom get killed.
because he's not even the killer in the first one.
Yeah, or the fifth.
Which is what gets Drew Barrymore killed in Scream.
No, that gets her boyfriend killed.
That gets her boyfriend killed because she's like, Jason, and they're like, haha, no bitch.
Even his bad movies are somewhat enjoyable, except for Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell can fuck off.
Never seen
telling you now, spoiler alert, when I do those movies, Jason Goes to Hell is bottom of my list by a long margin. I literally, I love these movies, but I had to force myself to finish that one because it is just
wasn't Manhattan pretty
so bad and so confusing. But even Jason Takes Manhattan is like somewhat enjoyable because it's like so kind of cheesy. This is just a bad movie.
Which one has the mom pop out of the lake at the end?
3D part 3.
Of course it does.
Anyway, I've even started formulating a ranking of his kills and his films because he has just such good material to work with. Also, the Friday the 13th remake / reboot is probably the only one worth watching, except for maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot from 2003. That one's also pretty good. Yeah. So that's my list. Those are my top slashers. Jess, who's your favorite? Probably.
My fave?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
I mean, you used to say Michael Myers, but I don't know if that's just because you had the same last name as him.
Like when I was like younger, I was like, oh my god, our last name, but he spells it wrong. But also it has Jamie Lee Curtis. See, I'm like more like I like it because of the like final girl in the movie. I find that's why I like them more. Because
I'm considering. I don't know if I'll get it done this month or I might wait just a little bit. Yeah, because I don't want to do too much slasher related stuff, even though I do love them. I might do
Laurie.
Final Girls or just top survivors because there are some good guys in there too.
I don't know if I have like a favorite slasher.
Or I could just do horror movie survivors. I don't mind
slasher like movies, but I'm not like gonna go and just be like, hey, let's watch this horror movie. I'm willing to watch horror movies, but I'm never gonna be like.
I would probably say
I'm never gonna suggest it.
Are up there with the most parodied film genre, along with zombie movies. Have you seen all
the scary movies?
Scary movie. But then there's just like a ton of like, there's The Final Girls, there's Lost After Dark.
The Final Girls is such a good
movie. There's the Hatchet movies. There's kind of the Wrong Turn movies towards the end of the series from what I've heard.
But, they're not a set of like movies that I would ever like suggest watching, but I don't mind watching them. So I don't think it's something that I'm really like, I have a favorite. Yeah. Because... like, I have a favorite, like, rom-com, probably. I have, like, a favorite, like, period.
I mean, I was just talking about, like, the killer. Who's your favorite killer?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really have one because...
I mean, I would probably say Ghostface just from watching.
But that would only be in the first movie.
That still counts.
What, just like from watching me crack up? But that's like, I don't enjoy him because of like his creativity and kills. I enjoy it because it's so stupid and funny.
Yeah, but whatever entertains you.
I guess. But that also might just be because the actors, I love them so much.
Yeah, I mean they didn't know that it was them until
Shaggy.
like they filmed the last scenes really, like the day before.
Which is good.
I mean, which is one good on
Smart
Wes Craven because then it couldn't get spoiled and get out. But also it meant that the actors were giving performances as if they weren't the killer, which is great because you don't want someone telegraphing the whole time that they're the killer.
It also started a romance that changed Friends forever.
Oh, Courtney. Yeah, Courtney Cox and David Arquette.
But then they eventually...
Yeah, that's sad. They were really good together.
Were they still together when they filmed the fourth one?
I don't think so, but I think they kept a good relationship with one another.
Because it made one of like the funniest Friends jokes where they made sure that they had her name changed to Arquette in the credits, so they made everyone's last name hyphen Arquette.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, because I like I was like bringing up like the random ones that like you were like forgetting about. Like I enjoy like the little ones where it's like a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, and you can kind of notice actually. I didn't notice this until kind of I was reading it, but the slashers that are at the like bottom of my list, the higher numbers, really only appeared in like one, maybe two movies, and then you just get more movies coming just because there's so much more material, so a lot more to define themselves with, which I feel bad for doing, but that's just what works. Yeah,
I enjoy watching like stupid ones, like the My Bloody Valentine remake. I had a great time watching that because it was so bad and stupid. Like I had a great time watching it, whereas the original I couldn't watch because I was just kind of like, I don't like it. It's not funny. And like, I like a lot more remakes. Like I like the Prom Night remake. I like When a Stranger Calls remake. I even enjoy pretty much all of like this really like big slasher movie remakes.
And I'm sorry.
What are you gonna say?
No, I'm just sorry that you're the one who like those ones.
Because those are like the ones that like I saw first.
Yeah, I mean that's just
so like when I go back, I'm just kind of like, well, this is a little bit more boring.
Yeah, I mean that's also just it's our generation. You know, they all came out around the time that we were like the target demographic for those movies. I mean, I was a little young.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, that must have been really loud. Anyway, unless you have anything more to say, I will say I don't really know what I'm going to do next week for my list, but it'll probably be good. And then the week after that is Jess, and then the week after that is going to be either me solo or me with a guest.
Is going to be?
Yeah, you said it already.
Witches, bitches.
Okay. I have some guests in the pipelines who I'm trying to figure out, maybe them coming on, possibly one of my friends who started a podcast, possibly one of my friends who's already on a podcast, et cetera, et cetera. I'll figure it out. And if I don't do that, then I've already decided I'm going to do something solo, maybe just something a little bit special just because it's this month.
This month I'm a busy gal.
A deep dive on something on my own and try to make it as entertaining as possible, even though it'll just be me. But I mean, sometimes it can be really interesting. I'll probably do something like historical, like, hey, why serial kill? Why serial kills?
Also, right now, me and some cousins, we usually go to a haunted thing each year. We haven't been able to recently, but right now we are planning that, so we'll be able to tell you about our spooks this month.
Oh yeah, and I'll be sure to every episode, as well as posting what I'm watching as a suggestion. I will also maybe kind of do a recap of the week whenever we record these.
Yeah. Oh, of like the movies that you're watching. The movies
that I've watched, give a short little review.
And not gonna lie, guys, I don't always watch all the movies that he's watching. If there's one that I particularly like if he watches See No Evil 2, I'll sit down and watch the shit out of that. I love that movie. And so,
I already did say what my last one was going to be, I think, in the short one. I'm going to do on Halloween is basically like my suggestions, my favorite movies to watch around this time of year.
It's not going to be like a top list. It's going to be like, I suggest that you watch this, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll probably be ranked in terms of importance.
I already have a Halloween movie that I love watching on Halloween. I watched it for the past few years every Halloween. Should I just say it?
Hocus Pocus, I'm guessing?
No, I watched that as many times as I want through the month of Halloween.
Okay, then save it because that other one's probably going to show up on the list. I mean, really Hocus Pocus is probably going to end up on my list too, but
Dan is a pop doll of the one of the things from this movie. So I was looking around for it.
So I'll probably go over my favorite movies to watch around this time of year.
I'll let you know if we get haunted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
So like this video if you think being haunted is kind of hot.
Be sure to
check out the Shrimp Queen
Network. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Podbean.
Follow us
Twitter.
On Facebook.
We're at 10 for 10 pod on Twitter. We're just
maybe
10
we'll
for 10.
Make an Instagram.
10 for 10 on Facebook. Email us at 10for10pod@gmail.com and let us know list ideas. And be sure to let us know in the comments or tweeting or some form of
make an Instagram.
Some form of communication. What your favorite slasher movie is, who your favorite slasher killer is.
And let us know what your favorite type of Coke is. Regular, Coke Zero, or Diet.
Or vanilla. Or vanilla zero.
Well, I was going with just like
or
plain.
Caffeine free.
I was going with
or
plain,
diet
honey.
Caffeine free.
Or those weird diet flavors that.
Or do you remember Coca-Cola Black from the late 2000s? No. It was coffee flavored.
Or if you like the kind that used to have actual cocaine in it, let us know.
Or the kind that's coming in the future that's going to have CBD oil in it.
What? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, and now there's Coca-Cola Light. But do you remember Coca-Cola
Guys, just let
Black?
us know what your favorite Coca-Cola
It was spelled BLAK. It was coffee flavored Coke.
Ew.
Yeah, it was really weird.
And with that, goodbye.
And I think there was blue Coke, but that might have been Pepsi. I know there was Crystal Pepsi.
The seal was blue.
Hey, I'm going to do a top 10 weird soda flavors.
No.
Number 1, Mountain Dew Evolution. Bring that back.
Okay, guys, if you want this video, this link to stop, just close it now.
Thank you for listening to 10 for 10's Shocktober. I'm going to do like a cool voice effect on that, so I'm going to get a nice clean one. Don't talk during it. Shocktober. Thank you for listening.
Sorry.
I look forward to being in your ear holes.
Thanks for letting me go off on so many tangents about whatever we weren't talking about this
pumpkin
week.
Ear holes. Ooh. Do people don't carve
ghost holes.
Ears and pumpkins? Ew.
Bye.
All right, bye. Love you.